Rambam Sefer Hilchos Tefillin and Mezuzah and Sefer Torah Perek Sheni. In today's halachas, we're going to begin to discuss the halachas of writing the parshas and the tefillin. Aleph. Keitzad Keisun es tefillin shalish. How does one write the tefillin of the head? Keisun arba parshas al arba klafin v'geilin koles al vechel levada menicha esim ba'arba batan sheim v'chubarim bar echad. The four passages are written on four parchments and rolled close to each as separate entity. They are placed in four compartments which are covered by a single piece of leather. The four passages of the tefillin placed on the arm are written on four columns on a single parchment. They should be rolled close like a Torah scroll from the end to the beginning and placed in a single compartment. Base. So to be very careful about the parshas. Also, if one wrote a passage that it should be a stuma as a psucha or vice versa, it's possible. The first three passages are psuchis, and the last one, is a stuma. Gimel, v'tzar lizor b'moli v'choser shi'ar ba'atan ksubin kama shin ksubas b'sefer Torah bodot shin koser v'choser moli posel shin kukodas shin koser moli choser posel in the tekunum. Person has to be very careful regarding the spelling of the words of the passages with regard to the short or the full form. The manner in which these four passages are written in tefillin should be resemble the manner they are written in the Torah scroll that has been checked for accuracy in this regards. One writes a word which requires a short form using a full form, it's invalid until one erases the extra, etc. These are the short and the full forms in these four passages. Parshas Yeshen Kadeshli Kol Bofer B'Chid Moli Zocher Moli B'Chizik Choser Yviyacha Moli V'Amedi Choser V'Yusi Moli V'Yisech Choser V'Avidim Moli Choser Matzis Choser Shrin Moli Matzis Moli Seir Choser B'Ulef Choser B'Avor Moli L'Is Moli Zikar Moli Enecha Moli Teres Moli Yitziacha Choser Yud Hachuk Choser L'Meidem Moli. Parshas Shmuel. Second parasha is V'Hoyne Kiviyach as a Choser V'Avisecha Choser V'Avis Chameis Choser B'Chir Moli B'Chiz Gud B'Chiz Gud Choser Yisyano Moli V'Yarik Choser B'Chir Moli B'Chir Choser V'Chir Moli Ziveh Choser V'Chol B'Chir Moli L'His Moli Yotchol Choser V'Hei L'Tetifis Choser V'Achina Yinecha Moli B'Chiz Choser Yizyachol Moli. Parasha Shlishi Shmami Yidecha Choser L'V'Necha Moli V'Yisecha Moli Yid Shniyim K'mecha Moli L'His Moli Yidecha Moli Kolel yet Shni. L'Tetifis Choser Shnei V'Ovin Yinecha Moli Mezuzah Choser V'Ov Yishenam Sechol L'Yid Shniyim V'Sherecha Moli. Parasha Revis V'Yim Shemei Choser Mitzvisi B'Vov Achas Yena Moli Malkish Moli B'Tereish Choser V'Ov Ishtachavisa Moli Yivula Moli Ateva Choser Nisan Choser Isel Choser L'Is Moli Tetevis Choser Oshina Nika Moli Isel Choser V'Sechol B'Yil Shnia Ula K'Mefal Moli Zuzas Moli V'Sechol B'Yil Shnia V'Sherecha Moli V'Sechol Choser V'Ov. Halacha Ches. Charlie Zar, battalion for the aces. First has to be very careful with the placements of the crown of the letters. They are formed like a zayin on the tops of the letters which possess crowns in the Torah scroll. These are the letters which possess crowns in the four passages. Test. There's only one letter with a crown in the first passage. There are three zayin. The second passage are five letters. Each of these is the hay, and four zayin are placed in each of them. Test pay aleph for the theta face. Pay for the theta face. Alachas mishleshna arba zayin. Parshas Dvish b'chomesh yisrael pay shalava asafta yishalav shteish zayin. The top shalava asafta yishalav zayin echel. Test pay shalava good face. Kolel mishleshna arba zayin. Halisi Samet Yogi Shisha Shribim Leosa Tagana Hisa Vigarba and Lay Kosa. Yud. Halakeh Tefillin Memisha in a Rumcha. Person who purchases tefillin from a person who is not an expert. Sarf the Botkan is required to inspect them. Lokach Meno Meak Tzis. If he purchased 100 tefillin, Beidik Man Shalish Tzitzis, should inspect 3. Ishtam Shalarish, Vacha Shalayad, Ishtam Shalayad, Vacha Shalarish, or 2 from the head or 1 from the Yad, or the opposite. Im Etzon Shirim, and if they're all kosher, also Ish. So there's a chazaka that he's trustworthy, but I couldn't cheat him all kosher. In Hashar Sabadika, you don't need to check the rest of the film. Nothing Tzivasim. If, however, one purchased them in different packages, the halacha here is Kulam Tzrichim B'dikon. They all need to be checked. Shecheskas at Tzivasim, and Nashim Harbe the Kuchen. Because you can presume that each package was purchased from a different scribe. Aleph. I face this film after a person writes film himself, or he purchased them from another person, or purchased them from another person and has them inspected and places them in the leather. In Tzonach, it's not need to place again. Even doesn't need to check again, even after many years. As long as the leather are intact. That they're good. We're not worried that it faded out or been perforated. Hillel, the elder said, these tefillin are from my maternal grandfather. Hilchos Tefillin Mezuzah and Sefer Sefer Ava Perek Shlishi. Today's Perek, we're going to be learning about the making of tefillin. There are 8 requirements in the making of tefillin. All of them are halachas transmitted to Moshe on Har Sinai. If one deviates with regards to any of them, it's all puzzle. These are, number 1, the tefillin have to be square. Also has to be sewn closed in a square. Both the angles must be equal, unless all 4 angles will be equal. The letters of the head tefillin should be a shin imposed on both its right and left sides. The passages should be wrapped in fabric. This should be wound around the fabric. Afterwards, they should be placed in their compartments. They should be sewn close with sinews. The leather compartments in which they are placed should have place for the straps to pass through so that they can be moved through its phone handle. The straps should be black. The knot which they are tied should be known knot that is formed like a dal is. Halacha Beis. Ketzad Eisen Tefillin Shalish. How the Tefillin Shalish made? Leichin eitz meruba orkei kerachbe kuveya. We take a cubic wooden block. It need not, however, be a cubic, perfect cubic. We are required only to take care only that its width and its length are alike. 3 grooves are cut into it. 3 grooves are carved into it, so the 4 projections will be made as depicted. Leather is taken and soaked in water and then molded in place. With the knit leather is inserted between the grooves. After by the most shin sheesh per shlish rashin yimna mniach follow the shin sheesh the abba rashin mismel mniach. So while the weather is still wet, it's plucked and squeezed until the shape of the shin, the 3 edges is formed on the right side of its thumb, as they will be worn, and the shape of a shin with 4 hands is formed on the left side on its film, as they will be worn.
Good.
Gimon. Umanichin al ha'etz ashivish. The leather is then left on the mold until it dries. The leather will be formed into a block with 4 empty compartments. One of the passages from the Torah is placed in each compartment. It's then a portion of the leather is folded over beneath, and then they are sewn close to all 4 corners. Where the lower piece of leather, a place should be left for the straps to be inserted like a handle. This is called the ma'aberis. Dal, the case of this in Tefillin Shayan, how Tefillin Shayan made. Lichen eats meruba arke kerach by v'yagoiva ke'etzba ad yosher al zem ma'at epachas ma'at machap and ese be'er retiv melichan aser alimu ha'shiyubesh v'kedes aser maniach esa'arba parshas t'makamayitz v'masa mitzah aser m'lamata v'tifim ma'arba penesem manichim na'er tifim ma'makam etzus. We take a wooden block whose length is equal to its width and is a finger breadth or slightly more, slightly less, high, and place wet leather around it. The leather is left on the small until it's dry, and then it is removed. The 4 passages put in the place left to the mold. A portion of the leather is folded over beneath them, and then they are sewn close to the 4 corners. A piece of leather like a handle should be left, and the straps to be inserted. In case you see the passages, what is the order of the passages? Machnissen Machnissen, which is Valim Shemem Ba'asadish Shvalim Yad Yamin. Aminiach. Mishmam is Mufallah Vayikivech Ba'asadish Shmachla Shemei. Kalas the Ba'asavir for the Smell, but they have to move to Shakir the Faroket and Niach. I said, as again, Zebim. He considers Zeb Fulus. Person who is facing the person wearing the tefillin will read in the following order. If the order is altered, it's not acceptable. Tefillin Shiyam Teisvin, Ba'arba Blabim, Ba'er Echad Arach Secretary al Sidurim. Passages of the Antfin are written in 4 columns on a single piece of parchment like the Torah scroll. According to the Vedra, which these passages are found in the Torah in the following manner. If they are written on 4 separate pieces of parchment placed in the same compartment, all fulfilled one's obligation, there's no need to glue them together. The Shahu Gailul Parashis, when the passages both, when they are rolled, the patches both are with the head and the arm when are rolled closed. They should be rolled from the end to the beginning, so that where the passage is to be rolled open, it would be possible to read each portion from the beginning to the end.
The thing now.
Ches. Kishemachnisin es a parshas v'batim shalahem. Isaac. Ches. Kishemachnisin es a parshas v'batim shalahem. Kirchen esim b'matlis v'al amatlis seir v'afchach malchnisin esim b'atim. Says that Charlie is seir b'hem v'ychayat tehidu b'afilim v'nevidas shalahem. No kolom l'korchem b'za'ah b'sa'ar z'nav ha'golem. For the passages that are placed in the compartments, it should be wrapped in a fabric, and hair should be wrapped around them, wound around them. Afterwards, they may be placed in their compartments. The hair should be from a kosher species of animals or beasts, even when these animals died, without being ritually slaughtered or trade for. Their hair is nevertheless acceptable. It's already become a universally accepted custom to wind hair from the tail of a calf around these parchments. When the tefillin are sewn to clothes, they may be sewn only with sinews from a kosher species or animal or a beast. When the שיש בעקבה בין החי בין לבונם כושר מנף נסה בעוון קיץ בין על שיעשו כפשטן. Tefillin נסה ושזו נסה בהם tefillin התפילין יריד Sefer Torah. Sinews taken from animals which die without being ritually slaughtered, which therefore are nevertheless accepted. It's customary to take sinews from these heels of kosher animals or beasts. They are white in color. They are too firm. They are softened by pounding them with stones and the like until they become like flax. Afterwards, they are spun and twisted into threads and used to sew together tefillin on the sheets of Torah scrolls. When the tefillin are sewn close, they're sewn a square. It is widely accepted practice for there to be 3 stitches on each side, so that there will be 12 stitches in all. This applies to both the arm tefillin and the head tefillin. If whoever one made 10 or 14 stitches, there is no difficulty. Now, if a person made 10 or 14 stitches, no shaila. For each of the stitches, the thread must pass through from both sides. The groove between each of the compartments of the head tefillin should reach the stitches. Start again. The groove between each of the compartments of the head tefillin should reach the stitches which sew the tefillin close. Nevertheless, if the groove is a shareable, you are bo Russian near Makil. Nevertheless, if the groove is a shareable, even if it does not extend until the stitches, it's kosher. It's necessary to pass a thread or cord from each of the grooves on the outer side of the leather compartments to separate between the compartments. It is common custom to pass one of the sinews used to sew the tefillin close between each of these 3 grooves. How are the straps made? We take the straps at least the length of the body corner and width. If they are wider than that, they are acceptable. The length of the straps of the head tefillin should be how the straps are made. So they should be from a kesher with timor, so stairs to the country, Gil Tabor, the man minimum, very of church that they should tack up as it's there, we should run a kesher with timor. So I'll that's what especially you for spend I'll ask for speaking. Be sure, my other Susan Lucas, that's all she says. How the straps made. We take leather straps at least the length of the body corner width. If they're wider than that, they're acceptable. The length of the straps of the head tefillin should be sufficient to surround the head. Tie the knot and extend on either side of the head until they reach the navel or slightly above. The length of the strap of the arm should be sufficient to surround the forearm, tied to the knot, and extended until it can be wound 3 times around the middle finger and tied. Straps are longer than this, they are acceptable. One places the straps to the handle, leaving space with the circumference of one's head and ties a knot, square knot which resembles a dalit. Every Talmud Chacham should learn how to tie this knot. It is impossible to describe this knot in writing, rather it must be seen. Strap of the head tefillin should be tied with a knot that resembles a yud. This knot should allow the straps to pass through so that it can be widened or narrowed while one is tying the tefillin or one's arm. The outer surface of the tefillin, the straps of both of the head and the arm tefillin must be black.
I said, back to her plenty.
Contrast regards to the inner surface, since the face is the inside is acceptable if it's green or white. One should not make this red, since it will be embarrassing for him if they become overturned. The back of the strap should be the same color as the compartments. Black of the strap should be the same color as the compartments. If it's green, it should be green. If it's white, it should be white. If it's attractive a tone to be entirely black, the compartments and the entire strap. Let's go. Lloyd. The leather used to cover the tefillin and from which the straps are made should come from a kosher species of animal, beast, or fowl. Even when these animals die without being produced water or being trefa, their hides are nevertheless acceptable. If ever leather from a non-kosher species was used, or if they were covered with gold, they are not acceptable. The leather used for the straps must be processed with the intent that it be used for the mitzvah. Leather used to cover the tefillin need not be processed at all. Filo some matzah kosher. The leather used to cover the tefillin not be processed at all. If it is even acceptable, if it was made from matzah. Indeed, it's practiced in many communities. Tazayin. Ein eisen tefillin, elam yisrael, shasiyosam ksisivosam, knei oshin, sheisem beik, mishamar, lefikach, im chipen geich, tefillin psilin, v'odilach al-posel al-kosler, shal yasar yisen. Tefillin may be made only by a yid, since making them is equivalent to writing, because of the shin and the leather mentioned above. Therefore, if they were made by a guy or someone close to him, they are puzzle. Similarly, they may not be made by others. Writing the passage is not acceptable. Its own may not be made into armed tefillin. But an armed tefillin may be made into the head. Because an article should not be lowered from a higher level to the holiness to a lesser one. When there's a supply after one has worn them. If the head tefillin have never been worn, one may make them into armed tefillin. How is this done? One drapes leather around them until they become a single compartment, and then one can tie them into the hands. Yud Ches. Stitches of the tefillin became torn. Now, the stitches of the tefillin become torn. The stitches which are located next to each other become torn, or 3 stitches become torn even though they are not located next to each other. The tefillin are unacceptable. And the Rambam was supplied by Yishanis, old tefillin. The rest of the new ones are Elu Psulis. So the rest of the new ones, however, if their base remains intact, they're acceptable. These are new. Tefillin are to be considered new as long as the leather remains strong and does not tear when one takes hold of a portion of the leather where the stitch was torn and hangs the tefillin. The leather is not fit to hang the tefillin because it will tear. The tefillin are considered old. Last halacha, straps be torn in case based Pieces should not be tied or sewn together. Rather, it should be removed and atoned, and another one is substituted for it. Oh, it's even against the other should be removed and atoned, and another one substituted. The remnants, torn straps are not acceptable unless their length and width meets or exceeds the minimum requirement. At all times, a person should be careful that the external surface of the straps faces upwards when it ties them on his arm and his head. Sefer Torah Hilchos Tefillin Mezuzah and Sefer Torah Perek. Today's halachos we're going to be learning about hanachas tefillin, placing the tefillin. Aleph, heicha manichin tefillin shalish, where the tefillin shalish place, manichin isin al kodesh u'seit asir shekeneged aponim, or makim shemekhin shel tinigrei tisbei. They should be placed at the point of the skull, the end of the hairline towards the face, the place where the child's brain can be felt to pulsate. Care must be taken into position, them and the center, so that they will mean being in nefel. The knot should be the top portion of the neck, the bottom of the skull. Base v'shel yad koisher isal smeli v'al kibedes v'abasa tefer shemenapik shemenapek kosev menapek azresh nimtzak shemenapik menapek etzlesu tefillah keneged libe v'nimtzak mekayim v'hil advar me'ila alav v'achum. Our tefillin should be tied on one's left arm at the muscle, the bulging flesh of the arm between the shoulders and the elbow. Thus, if one presses his hand to the ribs, the tefillin will be opposite the heart. The fulfilling in these words shall be on your heart. Gil, amaniach tefillin shalyad apas yadei al-reish shalish al-mitzvah is a derech tzedek. Personal places the tefillin on the palm where the head tefillin on his forehead follows the ways of the tzedekим. Person who makes it tefillin rounded like a nut does not fulfill a mitzvah tefillin. A left-handed person puts the tefillin on the right hand. If he's an ambidextrous, he should place them on the left hand in the literal sense. The place where the tie and place where the place the tefillin received as part of a oral tradition. Dal tefillah shalish ein makebus shliad b'shliad ein makebus shalish m'nishin shtingmis is ulatzmi. The absence of the head tefillin does not be ma'akiv, does not preclude the wearing of the tefillin on the arm. Is similar to the absence of the hand tefillin. It's not ma'akiv the head tefillin. There are two mitzvahs, each one considered independently. Kitzim Mevorkin, how it blessed, so Shiad, Yisim Mevorach, Shrigatam Tzitzval, Al Mitzvah Tefillin, Shiad, Mevorach, Shrigatam Tzitzval, L'niach Tefillin. Edward, more and more the supply, Shaniach Hagas Mehen, well, put only one of them. And then Niach Stan, Mevorach, Rafa'at Hasvi, L'niach Tefillin. Put them on together, you just say L'niach Tefillin. The case of Shiad, then you put on the Reish, Shechelis, then you feel the Shalish, Rafa'at you can remove, you take out the Tefillin Shalish first. You should bear L'niach Tefillin because your Tefillin Shayad Asher L'Saper Figu Asher Fang L'Arba Sheniach Shalish. After saying the bracha, not allowed to talk, and if you do, Sachar Zavedas Jablavar, Bracha Shi Nia Al Mitzvah Tefillin, and then you have to say another bracha Al Mitzvah Tefillin, L'Arba L'niach Shalish. Zayin Tefillin Shayad Sheniach Mevar Chalerin Afilu Fitzis V'Libish Kam Pam Beim. Whenever a person puts on Tefillin, even if he removes them and puts them on several times throughout the day, you should recite the blessing over them. If you start the bracha Al Tefillah Shayad Achar. Now, with regard to the mitzvahs, one recites the bracha of them before. Let's get them. Therefore, one should recite the tefillin, blessing of an arm, after placing on one's muscle 4 times. So it's tying it comprises the fulfillment of one mitzvah. Chests. Shechei l'sadon tefillah latrim b'kli le'yanech shaliad m'lmata v'shalish m'mayla v'shah sh'oreitz l'lov shalish yivka v'shalish tchila v'nimtza sh'nicheren v'metzia shaliad l'fi shein leif shalish kedem shaliad. A person moves his tefillin to place them in a container. He should not place the arm tefillin below and the head tefillin above, because when he wants to put them on, he will encounter the head tefillin first. else he'll be forced to ignore it and take out the armed phone, since one should not put on the headphone with the armed phone. If now, it's forbidden for a person to ignore one mitzvah and proceed to the fulfillment of another mitzvah. Rather, as soon as the mitzvah comes to a person's hand, he should occupy himself with it. Therefore, a person should place the arm tefillin above, so that he will encounter it first, and let's put on the tefillin in the proper sequence. That's clean. When you have tefillin, when you forbidden is kaddish. Also, the Stamm spricht wie die Brüssel. Ich will nicht bei Arab, legen wenn es kaddish. Viel gemischt ja. Also, Lutz ist das Film beim Brüssel von Aspa für Taylor was a kitchen film enough in the container that was made for tefillin to be placed in it, that was used for the purpose becomes holy, is forbidden to use it for mundane purposes. The container was prepared for that purpose, but never used for it, or if the container was temporarily used for tefillin, but was not prepared for that purpose, it does not become holy. Rather, it's considered an ordinary article as before. It's forbidden to suspend the tefillin. This applies regardless of whether one suspended them by their straps or by the tefillah itself. One may, however, suspend the bag in which they are placed. Man, hanachas tefillin b'yem v'lei b'el, shenemer yamim yamima chukah zuri mitzvahs tefillin. Ein shabbos yom tevim ein zman tefillin, shenemer b'yel l'chol ha'is. Shabbos yom tevim ein asman ha'is, im say zman l'chosim ch'tei shiyiras chavirim d'chich ta'ba'amis v'kiril ha'shtishka ha'chanim. The time of the world tefillin is the day and not the night, as it says, you shall observe the statute at an appointed time from the day. The statute refers to mitzvah tefillin. Similarly, Shabbos and Yom Tovim are not days on which tefillin are worn, as it says, and they shall be a sign for you. Since the Shabbos and holiday are themselves a sign. When does the time begin? When one can see a friend standing 4 amos away and recognize him. It continues until sunset.
Holy.
Yud Aleph. Me. It's meant for a person who put on tefillin before sunset to continue wearing them after the nightfall. They may even remain upon him the entire night. This law, however, is not to be taught in public. Everyone should be taught not to wear tefillin at night and to remove them before sunset. A person who puts on tefillin after sunset transgresses law, as it says, and you shall observe the statute from day to day. A person who's wearing tefillin in the midst of a journey and the sun sets, marking the commencement of the Shabbos, he should cover them with his hands until he reaches his home and then removes them. The issue of base medrash for tefillin, he's sitting in the house of study in the sunsets, marking the commencement of Shabbos, he should cover them with his hand until he reaches his home and then remove them. If there's a house located near the wall where they'd be safe, you should place them there. If, however, you should not remove the tefillin after sunset because he did not have the place where they would be safe, it's permissible for him to continue wearing them in order to protect them. Or whoever is exempt from Kriya Shema is patur from tefillin. If a minor knows the importance of guarding the tefillin, his father should obtain tefillin for him to educate him regarding the performance of mitzvahs. Person with stomach problems and anyone who can contain his functions is only with difficulty are exempt from tefillin. All those visually impure are obligated to wear tefillin like the pure. A person who suffers discomfort or someone who is disturbed and cannot concentrate his thought is exempt from the obligation to wear tefillin, since a person who wears tefillin is forbidden to divert his attention from them. When there's in the midst of temple service, the being who chant on the platform and Israelites, when they're attending the temple, are exempt from obligation to pray and wear tefillin. Person should touch its tefillin from time to time during his entire time he's wearing them. so that he will not divert his attention from that even for a single moment. The holiness surpasses that of a tzitz. The tzitz, as Hashem's name written all on once. The head tefillin is similar to the arm tefillin, contain Yud Kei Vav Kei 21 times. Tesvav. Tefillin tzrichen guf naki. Tefillin needs to have a clean body. Shezer shel titzim in a ruch. Mata kadosh moshe alov. Make sure not to pass gas. Ping al felishin behem shnas keva. Therefore, you're not allowed to sleep a set sleep. Leishinas arin, also not a temporary sleep. Elen hiniach hameim siddur uvarisha in meisha. Yoshin medishinas arin. Ketu leisim hiniach leishib ben birka v'yeshib yoshin. It's forbidden to sleep while wearing them, neither a long sleep or a nap. If, however, one places a cloth over them and a woman is not with him, he can nap while wearing them. What should he do? Place his head between his knees and sleep while singing. Tezayin. Haya tefillin kruchin biyadei mutalishim behan afil shnas keva. Ve'echel behem melech yaz arvel. Nichnas so the skema filled some nichnas shechonei ashid l'yadov after chalichim b'rachom zinu v'lovish mehan. Person who has tefillin wound around his hand is permitted to sleep with them. This applies even in a long sleep. He may eat only a snack while wearing them. If, however, he enters to partake a particular meal, he should remove them and place them under the table until after he washes his hands. Afterwards, he should put them on and recite grace over his meal while wearing them. Yud Zayin. Hayalosh tefillin u'hutzah l'bizak yisei yaniach tefillin b'chin v'eshmot l'shasari konesh shemita v'yired v'achum. Word tefillin. The following rules apply with regards to a person wearing tefillin who has to use the bathroom. He should remove his tefillin, but while he enters, he should not place them in the holes or to the wall of the walls of the bathroom, which are near to the public domain, lest you be taken passerby. Okay, to the answer what you do. I feel it's a hashed in my tefillin b'rifut karba amis v'vilin b'rifut Sefer. Terev Ichsen b'yamina k'neged libi v'yizor shalei titzir tefillin mitad asudei tefillin v'nichas v'yisrael v'shiyitz amach karba amis v'sakishes v'lovshin. Even if he's merely going to the bathroom to urinate, he should remove his tefillin 4 amis and roll them in his clothes like a Torah scroll, holding them near his heart and his right hand. He must take care of the straps did not protrude more than the handbreadth from his hand. Afterwards, he should relieve himself. After leaving the bathroom and walking more than 4 amis away, he should put them on. Ilchas medvar amurim bebesakisa kuash and it says in the Tzlav bebesakisa are lekas ben kshenglun alchaysonis lechaved leshamrin. On this is apply in a permanent lavatory where drops of the urine will not sprinkle upon it. In contrast, in a place that is temporarily being used as a lavatory, one should not enter holding its phone wound up in one's hand. Instead, one should remove them outside the lavatory and give them to a friend to guard. Ein made a glide call off the Sakisa Kolel would be shoot. They might offer to Chiach for the middle of Mokum Kosh Yam Mokum Midnik, they should lay not so tender off. So, when this is applied in a permanent lavatory where drops of the urine will not sprinkle upon it, the place that is temporary being used as a bathroom, one should not enter holding its phone wound up in one's hand. Instead, one should remove them outside the lavatory and give them to guard, to friend to guard. Urine cannot be expelled even at a permanent lavatory unless one squats. If the floor is covered with soft dust, drops will not sprinkle even when one stands. If the floor is hard, one should stand on an incline and urinate so that the drops will not sprinkle upon him. Yutes. I love tefillin. Edif. Well, the Nisha Manayim the lotion after she hits a cut is been gluing the idea of the hashtag of mine basic is a quote. The kids the Yasa Hilson and even Bekellian in my Tafach, even cliche in Korean half of Bishan with Tafach, it is a clease beyond the Nicholas beginning puts up well and if the clear belief is a clear beyond the Nicholas. The first is wearing tefillin and must relieve himself in the evening when there would be no time left in the day to put them on again. After he finishes, he should not enter a bathroom holding them rolled up in his clothes. What should he do instead? He should remove them and place them in their container if it's a handbreadth in size, or in another container which is not specific for them, even though it is not a handbreadth in size. He should hold the container in his hand when he enters the lavatory. Similarly, if he needs to relieve himself at night, he should place him in the container and enter the lavatory holding the tefillin in his hand. Person forgot to enter the bathroom while wearing tefillin, he should cover them with his hand until he completes expelling his first issue of feces or urine, and then leave the lavatory, remove the tefillin, and complete relieving them. Or water interrupted in the midst of expelling the first outburst of feces or urine, he might become very dangerously ill. Person forgotten had bia while wearing tefillin should not hold either the straps or the compartments themselves until he washes his hands. Then he should remove them. The restriction was listed because his hands are active. Person who enters a bathhouse, the rooms were placed stand clothes permitted to put tefillin, and the rooms where some of the tefillin stand naked, and some clothes one should need not remove one tefillin, or the answer should one put tefillin on there. The rooms where everyone stayed naked, one should remove one tefillin, and needless to say, one should not put them on. A person should not walk in the cemetery with tefillin in his hands or on his head. Even if you're Arba Amis of the mace, you have to take it off. Until you distance Arba Amis. The Yilbush Adam Tefillin, if she has her bus with Yilbush, whether a person should not put on tefillin until he covers his Arba, puts on clothes. If you're carrying a heavy load, you have to remove the tefillin. It's even permitted to wear a handkerchief around one's head when wearing tefillin. One may, however, wear a hat over the tefillin. Chodal Bayis, she used to read tefillin. I say, also the Shamash Mitasa, she is Sio Yanich Bikli, when you have Bikli Akhir, Shanik Lin. Haya Kli Ashin Mizum Hanma, Philo Haya Sarah Kilim, Kli Akhir, Hinkashuan. When you have Kli Bitekli Mutla and Ich Tapas Regeneration, when Karli Kazan, Shalik and Egg, Ishk, the Shema Philo Yute him when tefillin or a Torah scroll are in a room, it's forbidden to engage in sexual relations unless they are removed or placed into a container. That container placed in a second container, which is not specific to them. If, however, the second container is designated for them, even 10 containers are considered as a single container. Should a person place the sacred articles into containers, he place them at the end of his bed between the cushion and a pillow. As long as they are not under his head, they can protect them. The supplies, even if it was together with him in the bed. In Imshak Mistake, Visira will live in a Mahad, Russia was a race on Mfanlivi La Dibia, Mespatzek, Theatre Hodden, Stadli, Alov, Kolonim, Schmitzaki, Umru, Love. I'll have time that I've been a Kodish Kolim, the rule shall Arbanis, but today, but it's film. This associated with tefillin is very great. As long as the person is wearing tefillin on his head and his arm, he will be humbled, and Hashem fearing will not be drawn to frivolous behavior, empty speech. He will not turn his thoughts to evil manners, but rather will direct his heart to words of truth and justice. A person should try to wear tefillin throughout the entire day, for this is the mitzvah associated with them. Amongst the praises conveyed upon the Rav, student serving HaKadosh, was that he was never seen without tzitzis of tefillin. Halvish and Sessel Loshik Kolim, which has tefillin Yosrim, and Kalamar Chomka, a few Kishman, with tefillin Kila made in the Sheker Masveh. Loshim Nef tefillin, Iri Bishmena Aseh, Shar Arba, Parjes Sivat, Tefillin Shalish, Tefillin Shiyad Chorel, Tefillin Marach Yom Shem Aleim Yichim. Not the mitzvah to wear tefillin throughout the entire day. It's important during davening. The Chachamim say, whoever recites Shema without tefillin is considered as if he's giving false testimony. Whoever is now wearing tefillin transgresses 8 positive commandments. In each of the 4 passages containing the tefillin, we are commanded to wear both the head and the tefillin. The reward for wearing tefillin are also great. Whoever wears tefillin regularly will live long. As it says, Hashem is upon him, they shall live.